So this chapter actually is probably my favorite because it's all about the difference between doing and being. And this is probably my biggest struggle personally. I often am a doer, and so I have a to-do list, and I think I need to get it all done. And then sometimes I can bring myself to overwhelm. So learning how to just be has had to be an intentional practice for me. And I use that word practice intentionally because it is a practice. I have to practice it every day. So it was so important to me. I actually wrote a children's book called Busy Bee Learns to Be, and it's all about how to incorporate just being in the moment. So on that note, I would love for us to take a moment to just be. And one of the practices I'd love for us to practice today is mindful senses. So really grounding yourself in senses. So if you'd like to get into your comfortable seat, whatever that is for you, sitting up nice and tall, with your eyes closed or gazing down, or even if you want to lie down. Remember, we talked about mindfulness practice is what you need it to be. So tune into your body, tune into your mind, and get into a space that feels comfortable for you. And let's start with just 3 collective breaths just to ground us in the moment. So taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again, inhale. Exhale. Just moving your body in any way that feels comfortable. And just settling in for a moment as we use our senses to help us ground. So just taking a moment to notice the sounds. Notice the sounds that are close, like my voice, your breath. Just breathing in, breathing out. And then even noticing some of the sounds that maybe feel far away. Like maybe there's an airplane. Maybe if you're outside and there's a dog barking, just noticing sound. Then taking a moment, and you can do this just by having things around you, feeling the texture of the clothes on your skin, what that feels like. You can even put them in between your fingers and just feel them. If it's cotton, if it's soft, or maybe you're touching your shoe and it feels rough. I like to have a stone with me sometimes, and I feel the stone help ground me in my sense of touch. And just taking a deep breath in, just noticing any smells that are around you. Perhaps you're outside, smell the flowers or nature. Maybe you're smelling something cooking in the kitchen. An intentional smelling practice is sometimes using essential oils to smell in, help bring you to a sense of calm and ground you into your sense of smell. And if your eyes are open, you can notice the things around you, the colors, the shapes. Just start to name the things that you see around you. Breathing in. Exhale. If your eyes are closed, perhaps you're picturing a happy, serene place. The beach, forest, your comfy bed. Just focusing on sight. And then taste. If you have something like a mint or gum, this is a great time for you to put that in your mouth. Or perhaps you can do that later. And sometimes I like to just instantly feel like what that would feel like to have that in my mouth, that taste. If you can even think about some of the things that you love to taste. Breathe in. Exhale. Just taking a moment to just again move your body in a space and place that feels comfortable for you, rolling your shoulders. A cat-cow means intentionally chin to chest, arching your back, and coming the opposite way and looking up towards the sky. So you can do that a couple of times to bring mobility to your spine. All right, so again, just noticing where you are on that scale of 1 to 10. If you've noticed your number going down, if it's the same, if it's up again, without judgment, just a noticing of how you're feeling. So this chapter with the being mode, it has in your journal, trying to make it see, it says the just be. So and I have this in here for you to kind of keep notes on. So it says the 7 characteristics of doing and being modes of mind. So our first one we're going to talk about very quickly, and he goes through them in the book, but one of them is automatic pilot versus conscious choice. So the first chapter is all about automatic pilot, and I think we can all relate where you've maybe driven somewhere or you've gone somewhere, you're like, how did I get here? I don't even remember doing this. So it's those things that we just do without really thinking about. And sometimes that serves us because it's a habit and we just kind of like go through it, because if we have to consciously think about every single thing we do, that can be overwhelming for our brain and our entire nervous system. So sometimes it does serve us for sure. And then understanding that that is more of a doing mode, and that making that shift into coming into a being mode where we talked about our intentional practices of like really doing the laundry, really focusing on what the clothes feel like as you're folding them, or, the colors, like, again, being grounded in the senses, the smell of what the laundry detergent or whatever smelled like. So that is the being present, the conscious choice to do the laundry and be present in that moment. And that helps regulate our system to bring it more into a parasympathetic state. So just noticing when there's opportunities that you can do that can be so beneficial. So analyzing a situation versus sensing a situation. So I'm an analyzer. I like to look and think of, all the probabilities and all that. I am, but kind of grounding into, what does this feel like? How they talk about having a gut feeling and like sensing a situation. Well, there's a reason for that, because our gut is our next brain. I mean, that's where we actually generate a lot of our serotonin. So it is part of our system. And so just understanding that sometimes there's just being in the moment and just sensing what I'm feeling, mind, body, heart in that moment, versus always trying to analyze and solve. We talked about how feelings are meant to be felt, not to always be solved. So that's a great one. Striving versus accepting. So this is a big one for me too. Sometimes I'll get into, I want something to happen, so I'll just go into go mode and be like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make that happen. And that can put me in overwhelm often. So recognizing, number one, that I'm doing that, taking a deep breath, and then attempting to let that pattern of thought go and just accepting what is here now. This is what's here for me, and saying yes to the things that are saying yes back to me. So that is a shift that I know I've had to make personally, and you can reflect in your journal about how you feel. Okay, this is a good one. Seeing thoughts as solid and real versus treating them as mental events. So this is where we've talked about a little bit, where the creating the story in your mind. I mean, I can't even, thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts a day. we're constantly thinking. That's what our brain is supposed to do. And it's so beneficial for us to take a step back and witness our thoughts. Sometimes when I get into an overwhelming thought pattern, I remove myself from that thought pattern and actually picture whatever it is I'm thinking about as a movie. Like, so I'm watching a movie in my mind and there are characters so that I'm not over attaching to those thoughts that are happening. That's one little strategy if that works for you. I just think that having that detachment from the thought can be so helpful in understanding we're not our thoughts. We're more than just our thoughts. If we were our thoughts, oh my goodness, that would be, because I can think one thing and then 10 minutes later think the exact opposite. So it's, yeah, that's just, they're going to waver. So just thinking it's an event that's happening, that word equanimity, just letting those thoughts kind of pass by you like a weather, like weather, or just like clouds in the sky or leaves on a stream. Just kind of let them pass. Okay, avoidance versus approaching. Now, so often, and that for years I spent a considerable amount of time trying to avoid any type of feeling. I just felt like there were bad emotions and there were good emotions, and I'm going to hold on to those good emotions, and I'm going to not even address the the ones that have my nervous system feeling overwhelmed. And what I've learned is how important it can be to live in that space of acceptance and approaching situations more and emotions more with curiosity rather than just trying to avoid them, because they come and get you. So like just making sure that you're taking that time to just, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Got to feel it to heal it. So feel it. And then you can access your tools when your mind and body are ready to help you work through whatever situation is that you need to work through. Okay, mental time travel versus remaining in the present moment. Okay, this is why we have our mindfulness practice of learning how to intentionally be in the moment. So our mindful awareness activity we're doing, because it is so easy to get just lost in the mental time travel where you're like, where did that day go? What did I even do today? And you're at a loss. One of the quotes, hopefully I get it right, but it's depression is in the past and anxiety is in the future. The present is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So really thinking about ways that you can bring yourself back. Most of the things we worry about when we think about for the future don't happen. So it's kind of, I also love I'm a quote person, so I love quotes, but like worrying is like having carrying around an umbrella and waiting for it to rain, so it's just wasted time and energy for us. It's hard to do. It's a practice to get yourself to not do it. And I practice it every day. And thinking about the past, it's happened. There's nothing I can do about it. And really, like, there's magic in all things. The most difficult things that I have gone through have brought me to where I am today. If I hadn't gone through them, I wouldn't have learned the lessons I needed to learn. So yes, it's so hard as you're going through difficult seasons. And I know we all have our story and we've all been through so much. So just recognizing, giving yourself grace, and then understanding that the lessons and the things that have happened to us are what have created our present moment person. So, which is a beautiful person to be. So that is being present in the moment. And then the last one is depleting versus nurturing activities. So I love the idea of saying yes with like your whole self. So when you feel like something is a yes, I mean, you can feel it in your mind, body, or heart. And when you feel like something is a no, we talked about your brain being in your stomach sometimes. Yeah, it's that gut feeling is, I know this isn't right for me. So sensing into, okay, how am I feeling? Is this a yes for me? And if it's not, really evaluate, like, am I going to do this? Now, I understand, like, no, anytime I want to like have to unload the dishwasher, it's not going to be a full a full yes. So yes, there are things that we have to just do. But really like those activities, those intentional activities that we're choosing to help bring us joy, really ask yourself, is it in alignment with what it is that brings you joy? And if it's a yes with your whole heart, mind, and body, then do it. If it's not, really stop and evaluate, why am I doing this? Okay, so thank you for joining me. This is, again, I think one of the biggest aha chapters to help set you up for your success in our 8-week journey. And so let's just end with a quick, like, cleansing breath. So breathing in and then exhaling, letting it all go. And thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time.